Morning all, welcome to another Sunday Q&A. Here we go again. Right, what we got this week? Firstly, I need an apology. As David Johnson pointed out, as I'm sure many of you actually did clock, County Antrim is not actually in Southern Ireland, it's in Northern Ireland. It's just, unless Boris has been messing about with the borders again. Yeah, my geography is terrible. I am the world's worst career driver. If it wasn't for sat-navs, I wouldn't know. Most of the time people ring up and they say, where are you? I go, I don't know. Really haven't got a clue. Somewhere. Definitely somewhere. But that's it. Right, work time directive. Thanks again to Bootneck and Mark Everton, and not to be confused with drive time. Work time and drive time. When I finally get my head around this, I will do some videos on it, but it's not that complicated. There just seems to be a lot of little bits. You know, there's one on driving, and there's one on time away from driving, and there's one on weekend time away from driving. And there's one on how many hours you can work regardless of whether you're driving, and they all kind of have to click in together. And when I finally get my head around it, which it's not that complicated, I'll do one. But yeah, Bootneck, Mark Everton, Steve Campbell, Sarah Betty Bonzan, you know, you guys, thanks very much. The long and the short of it is this: on the work time directive, and this applies whether you're driving a van or whether you're driving a lorry or whether you're working in a factory, within the first 6 hours, you have to have a 15-minute break. Within 9 hours, you have to have another 15-minute break. So you've got to have half an hour in the first 9 hours, and within 12 hours, you have to have another 15-minute break. So there you go. Within 12 hours, you must have had 45 minutes worth of break. Now, bear in mind, I have to have 45 minutes break after driving 4.5 hours. There's a good chance I won't get that. That doesn't really kind of crop up a lot, but it does on multi-drops. Because on multi-drop, sometimes you're not spending that much time driving, but you are spending time unloading, so it's technically work, and therefore you have to have your breaks. But thanks very much, guys. Right, this one, we did one on elephant racing. You know, on kind of when you see the lorries on the motorway trying to overtake each other, and as a van driver, it was always very frustrating. It's like, come on, guys, can't you get out of the way? We need to get past here. And as a lorry driver, you realise there's like, it's very frustrating when one guy's limited to 54 and you're limited to 56 and he's not limited, and he might be limited to 56, but he's calibrated different to you, and it really is, you know, sort of going backwards and forwards. It's kind of a bit of to and froing. But Graham Alexander says, progress is the key. Put your foot down. Oh, the six were so simple. I do put my foot down, and it goes all the way up to 56, and it goes, and then it stops. And I can put my foot down through the floor and to the motorway. It wouldn't make any difference because the ECU is limited, and the second I get 56 miles an hour, I can't go any quicker. That's your lot. Matt Hodges, when I'm being, it's some guys who says, when I'm being overtaken, I put my exhaust brake on. I'll tell you what I do, Matt, because I drive my steering wheel now. I've got like 3 switches on my steering wheel on my right-hand side. One of it controls the cruise control up and down. One of it turns the cruise control up and down, and one of it is a speed limiter. Don't touch the speed limiter, there's no point. But what I do is the middle button on the cruise control, I just turn the cruise control off. As soon as you turn it off, it just falls back. And then as soon as the guy moves in, click it back on again. But I know what he's saying. He said, I put my exhaust brake on, just to give him a little bit of extra thing. He said, unfortunately, very, very rarely does it get returned. No, I know there's been daft times where I know the guy in front of me is limited to 54. I'm going 56. Mate, just give me 2 seconds to get past you. But they don't. They just clock on at 54 all the way. There you go. What can you do? Oh, and he also says, if I know a firm that's restricted, so you see the motors you go there, indicate straight away, get past them, like, you know. So Godzilla's as well. He says, and this is very actually good advice. He says, it's follow the truck in front to see who's the faster. Might take 1 minute, might take 10 minutes. And he said, and then watch the road. He says, because the bigger trucks, the heavier trucks particularly, are likely to go faster downhill and slower uphill. So what you want to do is watch the truck, get behind it, wait till the bottom of the hill, and make your move. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Yeah, make your move at the bottom, so you've got more chance because you know the weight's going to be against them. And then, of course, the 7.5 tonne, I'm not going to be as heavy as an 18 tonne or a 26 tonne. And Corrigan says, modern lorries are as fast as cars. Amazing acceleration. I don't know, I haven't got a modern lorry. 2012 mine. But she's lovely. Alice is great. I'd miss her if she's gone. She's gone. Oh, have a little whinge up. Hang on, cats. Back again. Yeah, got 4 cats. That's roughly 4 too many. I think when we got up to 2 cats, I said, right, that's it. No more. 2 is plenty. The very next day, they came in with a kitten. My word is law. It's good to know. I don't mind the cats in fairness. They're no trouble. I like dogs as well, but you've got to be fair to the animal. I didn't get home till 8:30 on Friday night. Well, I'm going to take the dog for a walk at 8:30. Yeah. Some of you take him in the vans, I know that, but I'm not so sure about that. Taking the dog on site is probably not always. Some people are going to go, nope. So, anyway, enough about me and animals. Right, miscellaneous. Danny boy. He says, the way he's working, he's got his own. He says he's looking to end up with a small a mixed fleet. Is this him to you? Basically, yeah. I mean, we've got 5 vans on the go, 2 Lutons, 1 small van, and 2 up north, and 18 ton and a 7 ton. And it's kind of, and we're looking to get another 18 ton. We're going to work out which ones are the best to move forward, but you need different vehicles for different things. There's more money in lorries, but there is still money in vans. Sort of, we do these things about the CX. I just jumped out of a Luton, but when I was driving around out of Luton, I was making good dough. So yeah, I'm not going to turn me back on it just because, because we're in the bigger vehicles, smaller vehicles too, all the way. Petri O'Neill says part-time, we're doing about part-time on the CX. He said part-time on the CX don't work because the costs outweigh the rewards. Then Bob Keane says part-time on the CX, as long as you have a van, this is a good point as well. If you've already got the van, if you've got the insurance, you've got the sat-nav, you're good to go. He said, I know like the old timers, like kind of the forum people don't necessarily like this kind of talk, but it's the way it is now. And the only thing is don't stay green too long. I would say, and I've always said, to pay for your CX membership, if you've got everything else in place, if you're not deliberately getting everything else in place, you've already got it, to pay for your CX membership, you'd only have to do 1 or 2 jobs a month. So if it fits in with other things, maybe it is a possible. I said part-time on the CX, not so much. I still stand by not so much, but maybe it is a possible. Everyone's, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but like I say, I think if you have to go out and get all the kit deliberately just to do it part-time, not so much. If you've already got the kit sitting there, there are bigger gambles. Up to you guys at the end of the day, as always. Tobias Green, he said, thanks for the tips about adaptation. He's interested in forwarding. But I'm thinking of you, mate, and I'm thinking forwarding is the way forward for you. Because you said you want to try and build up a customer base and all that first. That's what I would focus on. I would focus on maybe doing card drops in the area, leaflet drops in the area, searching the local directories, sending emails, ringing people up, cold calling, walking around, knocking on doors, Facebook, marketplace, all that, talking to people and going, anybody need a van? And then try and build up some customers. And then maybe when you build up some customers, going the other way around, because, I know you've got some issues, I think, with your back and stuff like that. Maybe you might be better suited with the more office side of things than the actual van side of things. But at the end of the day, like I say, mate, I don't know your situation. Choice is yours. Oh, I've got another place now. Right, okay, we go over here to Sam Martin. Is it worth getting a Luton van with a tail lift, thinking of taking a plunge? Ganesh Banera has just bought a Luton van with a tail lift and a curtain. Well done. If you're going to get a van and you want the best van to run with on the CX, in my opinion, is a Luton tail lift curtain side. And it's not just my opinion. There are seasoned professionals out there. I spoke to a guy, one of the guys when I started running, been in the game for 20 years. And when I bought my box Luton with a tail lift, he said, I wish I knew you were going to buy a van. I'd have told you to get a curtain. I said, Ben, if I could have got a curtain, I would have done. But they had so many miles on them. It just wasn't an option for me, but yeah, if you want to go for it, Luton with the curtain side, if you can. If not, box Luton with a tail. If not, anyway, best van you can get for the money. Ganesh, good luck. This is a bit nervous to start with. It comes very quickly. By the time you've done job number 3, you didn't realise that you didn't know how the app worked in the first place. Yeah, that's kind of it there. I've done some squiggly bits there. I confused myself, A van on the run, read the FFS video, which of course stands for Ferdinand Sparks. What else would it stand for? I have done plenty of jobs. This did make me, actually, I did think this. He said, I have done plenty of jobs where I regretted putting the quote in, and when the phone rings, my heart sinks. I had a couple like that last week. I did one on Friday, and I'm sitting there, and I'm nearly, I've done too early. I've done at 1 o'clock, and I'm sitting in Northampton, and a job pings up, Daventry to Chelmsford, and I'm like, oh. I wanted to go home and cut my edge, but I was Friday. It was too early. I hadn't done my day's money, and I'd done my weeks. I'd done my money for the week already, but I get greedy. Do you not do that, please? Catch me on the bloody phone now. Yeah, well done. Stop. Sorry, you can't. Stop doing that. Thank you. So you can't see this. I've got a cat attacking my telephone. Yeah, and I ended up going over to Chelmsford. And then, of course, I got to the place at 5:10 and it was shut. So I rang the guy. He went, "Are you local?" I went, "No." He said, "Okay, can you deliver it somewhere else?" I went, "Yes." 8:30 on a Friday night. As it was fine. You know, cool. So it's a weekend now, isn't it? Tom Grinley, he said he joined the CX last week and it's working out. Good. Well done. Any questions? You know where to fire them. I hope it does work out for you. Robert Cassidy said, "What is the CX?" The CX is a platform for van drivers, kind of like Uber for taxi drivers, where jobs get posted and we bid on them. There is a video. We'll maybe do a link as soon as I get around to doing more links. John, he says, "You're doubting yourself about Tilbury. Don't get stressed about it. Get out more." Yeah, he's dead right. I should get out more. And as Godzilla said, there is a thing called sleep. Mostly starts up on Sundays. Yeah, Sunday afternoons. Kind of. There is a thing called sleep. Rest. Happens on Sunday afternoons. One day it'll happen on another day, but in the meantime, I don't mind. I'm building a business. I'm getting myself out of a hole that I got into in a market training business. I don't mind. I'm not afraid of the collar. I just don't want to do it for nothing, which is cool. Dolly Dalton, he said, "Tills meets Ellesmere Port, easy. London City Airport to Liverpool, 50 minutes, 75 quid. Even get the ham and cheese panini, I should imagine. But yeah, I would have had struggled with getting the 10 pallets that then had to go into Tefal in my hand luggage. So I've got to drive me mad today. Next week I'm doing it in a shed, away from these sort of creatures. Right, what are we doing now? Money truck driver says 18-ton jobs are booming on the CX at the moment. There are a few out there, as are 7.5s. I haven't struggled, like I say, we're doing okay. So just putting that one out there. Gavin Anderson, he says, regarding he had an FFS the other day, job come through. Then he said, he said, once where it changed eventually. He said, job came through. He said, I could swear blind. It changed literally within seconds in front of me. And he said this to his ops at Damien. I spoke to Damien, he ran me during the week regarding end user customers. I gave him the best advice I could, but I had to say, I've only got 5 myself. So to be honest with you, I can't really give you that much advice. The lockdown did slow things down, but there is a video on how to get end user customers. But I've said it already in this video, it's hard work. There's no shortcuts on that one. Not that I know anyway. Longfinger said he had a job on today. They said there was a job on there today. I know it's ridiculous sometimes. Leicester to Amsterdam, 443 miles, 1 pallet, pays 70 quid. He also says the big companies don't give feedback. I did want on feedback. I mentioned that, I think. Yeah, the truth of the matter is, I believe jobs like that should just sit there. When it says pays, there was one the other day for 7.5 ton, time pickup, time collection, going 60 miles, job paid £100. Job sat there for 2 days. Eventually it got reposted without the bit that said job paid £100. If they want to offer you nothing, don't take it. Just leave them and laugh. Rob Wade, he says he disagrees with me on what I said about feedback. He said to them, he says, one chap phoned several times, despite it saying on the e-quotes, don't phone. If you can't read the notes, you got blocked. Okay, I mean, I say phone once, not several times, and start your conversation with, I know it says e-quotes only, but because the amount of times where I've said that and actually got it, I have also had a couple of times, no, it's e-quotes only, mate, and I've gone, okay, fine, sorry, I'll put the quote in and hang up straight away. Then 7 times out of 10, then they've phoned me back and gone, I've got your e-quote, and I'm like, yeah, we could have had this conversation 5 minutes ago. I'll take that one. He also said feedback is the most important. He looks for established drivers, and he said, and if you're new, you're just unlucky. That's fair enough. I know what you're saying, but the truth of the matter is the other 2 factors are constraining factors. Feedback is not. If you've got a job on there for like, you could pay 150 quid, and a guy's got the best feedback in the world, but he quotes 200 quid, you can't use him because you haven't got the money to pay him. If you've got a job on for 150 quid and the guy's got the best feedback in the world, but he's like 100 miles away, can't use him. He can't do the job in time. If he's got terrible feedback, but he's the right money and he's the right location and he's the only van, you either use him or don't do the job. My point being, feedback is brilliant and you do need it and it will help you. We come and start with one this week with a firm that we normally use as well. But it's the only factor out of the 3 which isn't a constraining factor. You know, you can go, well, I don't really want to do this, but I've got to get the job off. I'll ring the customer and say, look, we're really chancing our arm here. It's this or nothing. The other two, it's like, well, I just can't do it. But everybody works their own way, as we all say. So Alan Talbot, he says he's running around in a short wheelbase and he's struggling to make it pay. He said, help, I'm struggling to make it pay. He'd done 2 jobs, 300 miles for 150 quid, which in a short wheelbase, you know, 150 miles, you're looking at 50p a mile. Over distance, it's not, you know, it's not a surprise. Started at 6 in the morning, finished at 8, did £68 in fuel. So he's come away with like 90 odd quid, 80 odd quid. Right, okay, firstly, if you have gone 300 miles in a short wheelbase van and you've done £68 in fuel, that frightens me. When I was driving a Luton, there would be 80 quid to fill it up and I'd get the VAT back on that. That would be 400 miles and that's a Luton with a tail lift. So I would seriously think about your fuel consumption on that one. Also consider shorter jobs. Sometimes going distance and then maybe not getting one back. Maybe sometimes you're better off with trying to get 3, maybe 4 in a day in a short wheelbase. 25 quid, 25 quid, 25 quid. Just here, there and everywhere. You might have a shorter day, you might do less fuel, you know, that kind of thing. And also quote the right price. You know, for example, just because, you know, you think, I'm not winning, I'm not winning. 65p really. Short wheelbase, maybe even 75p. They'll say yes or no. If they say no, there's another job. Don't panic. That's about the best advice. I mean, Steve Campbell come up with one. He said there was one on Shipley. This is the Mirror going from SE4 to DL1, not far from him. He quoted 80 quid. I mean, this is for 30 miles for a Mirror. But he said, I can collect and deliver in 90 minutes. The woman said, she said there were bids on there at £25, but she went with me. Liked the sound of me, was worried about presumably worried about the item getting there in one place. He said, I did the whole thing in 97 minutes. Both the customer and the person I delivered to were happy. And so was he. He got 80 quid for driving 30 miles. Got there, polite, put the mirror on, wrapped it, got there, got it off. And people, you know, if it's an expensive item, you know, sort of, yeah, the best, I mean, Alan, best of luck, my friend. It's a learning curve, it is a learning curve, just best of luck. I'm sure you'll get there in the end. Johnny Cabanazzi says, got his first job to Ireland. What is the best ferry to use? I imagine it depends where you're from. I imagine that if you're going from Liverpool, it's probably Holyhead. But again, I've never been across the water. The furthest the only country I've ever gone to across the water was Wales on a bridge. But I've got I've got a standard O licence now, so I couldn't even go on a ferry if I wanted to. So guys, if we can help Johnny out here, ferries, what to use, how to book them. Not my department, but I'll happily pass it on. And finally, the final word this week goes to Donny Dalton, who says, always drink tea in a China mug because it tastes better. Sure it does. But it doesn't make you look like Wallace out of the wrong trousers, does it? Bye, everybody. Take care, take money.